Welcome to the Quest Forums channel. And there's, a little tradition that goes on this time of year. The trees and the flowers, they come back to life and they celebrate that fact by attempting to kill me. I'm dealing with allergies right now. You'll probably be able to hear it in my voice in this video. But I'm kind of on the upswing. And the question that I had today goes with the time of year as well. It goes with the Easter celebration because a young viewer asked a good question. What do rabbits have to do with Easter? And because of the timing, I'm going to go ahead and soldier through, and I appreciate your patience as I probably have some cracking and maybe some coughing going on in here. But what do rabbits have to do? What is the Easter Bunny? Where does that come from? What does it have to do with Christ's resurrection? The short answer is nothing. Rabbits are mentioned a couple times, but it's in the Old Testament, and just because they weren't kosher, that the ancient Israelites were not allowed to eat them, and presumably modern Jewish people don't eat them either. I'm not even sure about that, but I would have to assume just because they are forbidden in the Mosaic Law. So that has nothing to do with Christ's resurrection, and so that begs the question, well, where did this whole thing come from then? Why do we see so many rabbits around this time of year? That's because there was an ancient German fertility goddess named Aostra. She's actually the one from whom the name Easter comes. And rabbits were one of her symbols because she's a fertility goddess and rabbits have a lot of babies, and so it's a pretty obvious connection. For the same reason, eggs were another one of her symbols, actually. And again, that's why we use them in Easter, is because they come from the former worship of her. And spring itself. That's why her celebration was at this time of year, was because after winter, when everything kind of dies, it comes back to life at this time. And so all of those things went together and were part of her religion. So when Christianity arrived in Germany, of course, people were no longer worshiping Aostra. They were worshiping Jesus, which is the right thing to do, but they just kept the symbols. And going into that, we do have to understand and be able to tell people about the fact that, yes, Jesus is greater than this old religion was. We don't just worship a God of one aspect of nature like fertility, we worship the Lord of everything. And Aostra is just a fictional character, but Jesus is real. Yeah, he died, and he actually did die, and he predicted that he was going to come back to life, and then he did it. And he was seen by hundreds of people after he came back to life. And so we know that he proved who he was, that he's the Son of God, and that we should worship him. And that's what Easter has become to really be about. But of course, there are a lot of connecting elements. We have the idea again of spring and things come back to life, just like Jesus actually came back to life. And he did that at this time of year. We know that because it happened during the Passover, which occurs at this time of year and doesn't actually have anything to do with what the Germans celebrated. But it just became kind of natural to say that Jesus coming back to life, that does attach to the whole idea of what the old worship was. And so we'll just keep the symbols. And that's where rabbits and eggs became associated with Easter, was in Germany, and then that spread to England and then to the United States. So that's why we have those things. We just give them a different meaning. We attach them to Jesus rather than to the old fertility goddess. And so I see no problem with the Easter Bunny. I think that that can be fun. It's a borrowed symbol that we're putting to better use. The problem doesn't actually come so much from the old paganism. It comes from the way people are behaving nowadays, where they want Easter to not be about religion at all. They really just want it to be a celebration of spring. And that's why you go in any store and you're going to see the bunnies and the eggs, but you're not going to see crosses or empty tombs for the most part. It's because people don't really want to have to deal with the resurrection. They don't want to take that message seriously. Now, we can't force them to do that, obviously. You can't make someone believe. But we can tell them the truth. We can tell them that they're missing out and that Jesus loves them and that he wants to save them. And that's our responsibility as Christians, is to tell people that and to tell them what Easter is really about. And of course, not just at Easter. That's a message for all year long. So it really just boils down to keeping our priorities straight. Chocolate, rabbits, and eggs, and all that stuff's fun. It just doesn't matter as much as Jesus does. He's what should always come first. And again, all the time. Nothing matters like he does. So as long as we keep it that way, then we're doing a good job, and the rabbits and the Easter Bunny, it gets to be something that we have a lot of fun with. But thanks for the question, bud. If anybody else has a question on this or another topic about the Bible or about God, I'd love to hear from you. I have some contact information in the description, or you can leave a comment here on YouTube. If you want to support the Quest Forums ministry, you can do so very simply by just hitting the thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. That'll help it grow on YouTube here, which will be good. And if you're looking to do a little bit more, then you could give a donation through my Patreon account. There's a link in the description. And your monthly support would be very valuable in allowing me to devote myself to this, and I would greatly appreciate your prayerful consideration of that. And that's all I have to say for this video. I do thank you again for checking it out, and until next time, keep looking up.